Hey there, football fans. Welcome to the Footy Show Podcast. James Sharman, beside a labouring Christian Jack, clearly hungover from the Oscars last night. Hey, Coach.
Oh, my goodness. I did hear that the Oscars were on because I made the mistake of going on Twitter for 2 minutes during it. And I thought to myself, I don't watch any of the Oscars, you know me, and people, regular listeners to this, know my feelings about that stuff. But I think I might enjoy watching the Oscars more than going on Twitter during the Oscars.
I made the point, actually tweeted out before the Oscars, that I'm now off Twitter for the entire night for that exact same reason.
I just went on there.
I don't care.
I was just like, what are these people doing? Like, who are you tweeting to, and how is it making you feel better?
I know. Oh my God, did you see what she was wearing?
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that neckline? The hem on that skirt? Oh my God! No, I watched it till about 10:30.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good for you. Wow.
You know what? I'm not vehemently against it. I know what it is. It's like bloody high school once again. It's the cool kids looking cool in front of the scumbags, us. I know what it is, but it's kind of, I don't know, a bit of a guilty pleasure, perhaps.
Really?
A few glasses of wine with the wife. She enjoyed it, you know, and you get the points with the wife, KJ.
That's true.
You know, and not much sports I watch.
See, yeah, that's true.
That you know what? She enjoys it, so I'm going to support her in her enjoyment.
Right.
And then this week when I'm watching my third Leaf game in 4 nights, and then Saturday morning I'm watching my third Premier League game.
There you go.
It compromised exactly what it is.
Compromise. Thankfully, Mrs. J went out with her friends to watch it, so I didn't need to comrise.
Had the wife not been there, wouldn't have watched it.
There you go.
Okay, I fully admit it.
Glad to hear that.
I'm whipped. But it's fun being whipped sometimes.
Well, you're in a marriage. It's called compromise, you know?
Absolutely.
No doubt about it. It's not being whipped at all.
And I watched a lot of football
give and take
on Saturday, in fairness, and Sunday, actually. So she did kind of owe her. Man City, Chelsea, we'll start with Kate, shall we?
Let's do that, yeah.
I enjoyed this game. It wasn't a great game. City, I thought, were pretty good. I think some players had bounce-back games. David Silva was very good in that game.
Yeah.
In particular, Milner continues to, surprise me.
Right.
In many ways. Chelsea, though, were poor. Is that fair to say? I know a bit of a surprise in the selection. You got Mikel and Lampard both in there, but for a team that is fighting for, at this point, top 4 football, and look at the standings, they are fighting for top 4 football.
Right.
They didn't have much desperation.
No, they didn't. They seemingly didn't have a lot of energy level out there for whatever reason that is, and that might be just the culmination of far too many games played. You know, they're playing all the time. You know, in the FA Cup, the Europa League, and many of the Premier League games every single week. But this is a team that I watched very closely in this match. I mean, I talked about this on Thursday in the TV show. I think at this point we kind of know who Manchester City are, but we're still trying to develop into finding out what Chelsea is. And in these games, you will really identify what they want to be and who they, who's in it for the long haul. Who can you get behind? Who can you trust if you want to be back to the glory days? And I don't know whether they can, trust quite a few of these players. I thought they were really poor. You're right. The game itself was poor, particularly in the first half. Another 0-0 at half-time. Thinking this is just like the first game. Yeah. It's just a terrible game, but it livened up in the second half. And yeah, there's so many things to get to. I got a lot of messages on Twitter about the Chelsea team. We'll get to them in a second. But I mean, I guess it turned on the penalty miss.
Yeah, which wasn't a penalty. In my opinion,
I thought so too.
I'm with you. He didn't touch him.
I can't hear anybody else say this, but I wouldn't have given it.
No chance, because it was Bar, right? Hart on Bar. Yeah. And if you watch, there's one great replay.
Yeah.
And Hart does what he has to do.
Yeah.
Cut down the angle, and then you see him pull away.
Just collapses into
I don't really blame Bar that much. It wasn't a brutal dive. He was kind of assuming contact, one of those situations, I think, and he went down, but it wasn't a penalty. So when Hart made what was a brilliant save, it wasn't a bad penalty.
It was a fantastic
great save. Yeah. I thought, okay,
it was.
Justice is done here.
Yeah, I'm with you. But alarmingly, I think we're in a very, very low minority, and that's what I'm worried about with the game going forward, because now it's like, oh, he touched him, it's a penalty.
Yeah, right.
Is it a penalty? Is it a goalie touching? How about a foul? Yeah. That'd be nice.
It's a contact sport, correct?
Was it a foul? You know? That's what I would like to...
Did he tackle him with his arms?
Right, yeah. And Bar, who, let's be honest, in his short time at Chelsea has got some history here of collapsing in the box already. That's
faking broken noses and stuff.
That's the third time he's done that. One time he got booked for a dive when he wasn't. The other time he got ignored for the dive when it actually was. And this time he definitely went over very easily again. I don't think it was. I will say I think that the Hart was a bit late to react. I think that if the ball coming over the top the moment Kolo Touré looks in trouble, I want my goalie sprinting. I want him coming out to take command of that ball. And I think he could have come out and punched the ball clear before it even got to that situation. So I would be a little bit critical of that. But with you, I thought it was a magnificent save. And Frank Lampard is so good at penalties, generally because of the power that he puts behind them and because of the authority in which he kicks the ball. We tend to know that he's always going to go that way or down the middle. Rarely does he go the other way.
Yeah, but is he go up or down?
Right, exactly. And Hart decided to go the right way, which we kind of figured, and it was along the ground. It was a brilliant save.
Yeah, not a bad penalty at all.
No.
And Lampard misses out on number 200
for
this week anyway.
Yeah, it was all built up, wasn't it? The commentator was set it up perfectly.
Here he goes. I've got this prepared for a long time now. I've got a great line.
The Chelsea
out
legend.
Now.
Here we go. Oh,
yeah, the face for the last 11 years. I thought John Terry was a face for the last 11 years, but anyway, whatever.
Yeah, John Terry's the face of many things.
He's a couple of faces.
Yes,
Bridge.
No doubt.
Kolo Touré, Yaya Touré's goal was absolute class, albeit Mikel was dreadful on that, but still that first touch was really sublime, wasn't it?
It was.
Just pulled Mikel way out of position.
Yeah, and Lampard's eyes too. If you watch the goal, that Lampard's eyes go the wrong way as well, and neither of them, for being the two central midfielders, do anything. They just stand there and get walked around. Mikel obviously more culpable than Lampard in that situation. Very, very similar to Sissoko's winner earlier this month, when it wasn't Mikel at the time because he was in the Cup of Nations in South Africa, but it was Ramirez and Lampard stood still doing nothing as Sissoko steered the ball back in the net. And once again, Touré with that special time, he is a man for special occasions.
Yeah, I think the commentator regaled the goals he's scored this year. I think 5 goals, and they're all against big clubs. The smallest club being Newcastle, but United, Liverpool, like big goals in big games.
Yes. Yeah, he doesn't pad his stats when they're winning 4-0. He scores goals in
Lampard,
crucial times. He scores goals in crucial times to make sure that that's very important when you dominate like Manchester City were at that point. It's very important that reflects in the score, and they ensured that they did that through him, because even when Tevez scored what was a lovely goal later to make it 2-0, I don't think Chelsea could really complain. I think it was a pretty accurate, despite the penalty miss, a pretty accurate reflection in the day's performance.
So looking at the table now, Chelsea third place for the time being on 49 points. Spurs play West Ham today. They could be in third place. Arsenal in fifth on 47 points. Everton on 42.
Right.
I'm prepared to rule Everton out of the equation at this point.
Right.
Given their recent form as well.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
So you got Chelsea, Spurs, and Arsenal fighting for fourth place essentially.
Yeah.
At this point, Spurs are the consistent team. Arsenal, we know what they are. Chelsea, we're not quite sure what they are. Are we going to see a massive surprise here? We're going to see Chelsea on the outs in fifth place this year.
I can't see it. I know where you're going. I just think they have a little bit too much quality. I do think there's massive concerns going forward, but their schedule gets a lot easier now. And I mean, like, West Brom at home, West Ham at home, Fulham and Southampton away, Sunderland at home. It gets a bit harder as later in the day. They've still got to play Tottenham at home and go to Anfield, go to Old Trafford, and finish with Everton at home. But I think that the momentum team, and they'll get going here a little bit. I think they'll finish in the top 4. I think Arsenal probably will too. I'm worried about.
You think
Tottenham.
Spurs could be on the outs?
I mean, I just in any of these situations, I always look at the team who. And I know Tottenham finished 4th last year, but I look at the players who haven't done it yet, and Tottenham still have a lot of players. Still have a lot of players there to prove to me that they can maintain that success going forward. I worry about Defoe. And Adebayor, where the goals will come, and Bale so far has got them out of jail a little bit with some
last few
fantastic goals.
It's almost I think a year to the day, isn't it, that AVB got canned from Chelsea? It's very close, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It was. I was on a flight back from Florida, and I believe it was March 4th.
Okay, so it's next week or so anyway.
Yeah.
It's approaching.
Yeah, it is.
He's done a great job there, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has done a great job, and regular listeners on here know you and I, big fan of his. Few people sent me messages on Twitter. Josh asked us, "What's the first thing you'd do if you were in charge of Chelsea?" I honestly feel like any sense of direction is gone for my Blues. First thing I'd do is sell Lampard and Terry. That's what I'd do. Well, get rid of him. I mean, Lampard will be gone anyway, but you've got to sell Terry. I think
Terry clearly is an issue there for any manager. Any manager, he's an issue.
Right.
And this whole feud between Rafa and Terry, although they're saying it's nothing, it's clearly something, or it was something.
Yeah. You got a massive game like that, the guy's healthy. You got a massive game like that, and you going with. I mean, Kerry Cahill was great. I thought he had a really good game. And you go with Cahill and Luis with Ivanovic at right back, a defensive lineup. They don't want Azpilicueta in there because they don't want rampaging fullbacks against City being exposed down the width. I mean, that's a clear sign for me.
I definitely ditched JT. As I mentioned before, I think he's become too much of a distraction and an embarrassment, quite frankly, for the top boys. I'd still bring Lampard back for a year. If he wants to come back, I would, because I think he's still got something to offer. I don't think he's quite the distraction that John Terry is, and perhaps without JT, perhaps that little clique in the room isn't as powerful and isn't as outspoken as we've heard it is.
Right. Yeah, I'll say this. Phil Bell asks, how does Mikel get a start in that team? I'll put this together in the same answer. For me, there's a serious imbalance between defence and forward in the attacking-minded team. So that immediately puts the radar on the midfield. And, Chelsea teams of old, there was a powerfulness about their teams. In the Premier League these days, you look at midfielders that succeed, and we just look at Torre, the way we talked about him. You need power. You need energy there. And for me, Mikel is a nice player, and they missed him, don't get me wrong, but when he's your best player, when he's your best central midfielder going forward, you ain't winning Premier League titles.
Right.
And you're Chelsea, you've got the coffers that Abramovich has got, and you've got players out there that you could go get, like a Fernandinho from Shakhtar, or a João Moutinho, or a Fellaini. These are the players you should be looking to attract. It's time to move on. A game like yesterday, for me, Lampard got seriously exposed. It might well have been Rafa's system, because he played the 4-2-3-1, and the 4 don't even want to track back. So it becomes a 7-0-4 basically. But Lampard and Mikel got seriously exposed against the Garcia and Yaya Toure in there, and Rodwell. And big games like that, you can't have Frank Lampard playing in central midfield for you.
Maybe these days, when Mikel though is there and he's behind Michael Essien and Frank Lampard, and it's 2007. It's different.
It's different,
right?
Of course,
because he knows his role more.
Yes,
and his role is to get red cards,
right?
To be sent off and be suspended,
right?
Not cause an issue there.
Yeah. Exactly.
What I do also, if I was Chelsea, I ditch Torres. I just cut my losses.
Yes.
At this point, so you know what? It's not going to work out. Whenever he plays, there's always going to be that thought process in the fans saying, you know what, he's only playing because the owner wants him there, not because of the manager. And that's whenever Ref picks him, that's what that's going to feel like, right? And I probably bring back Lukaku from loan as well.
You've got to do that now.
What a player, eh?
Yeah.
We'll get to him later in today's show, but man, he is an absolute force.
Yeah.
And if you have him holding the ball out for Bar, it's pretty decent. Or Falcao, as is what the big rumours are for the summertime.
Right. Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Look,
watch out.
I know you can only spend so much money. I will say this. I think they're a long way away from being a Premier League champion right now. But if you can ditch Torres and you can have Lukaku and Bar as your rotating striker, then go sort out that midfield. Just go sort it out. What is Ramirez? Is he a right-sided player or is he central? Because in a central of a 2, I don't think he's a 2. But he's a right-side player. He's got some issues there too. Mikel needs help. You've got to go out. And I just gave 3 names off the top of my head. But you've got to go out there and get a couple of star midfielders.
Don't you figure out who your gaffer is first?
Maybe, but maybe you do. But
Rafa, if West Brom's not an easy match, right? If they drop points in that one, is Rafa gone? I mean, I don't know who's going to take over, but at this point, they're not playing for him, right? And they're dropping points left, right, and centre at the moment. And as mentioned, they are 3 points away from not being in the top 4.
Right. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, and that's the home form. The other concerning thing is the home form has actually not been that good. And I know they beat Arsenal and Wigan the last 2 games, but that's where they've really struggled for me. It's against Southampton, against Queen's Park Rangers. They were really poor. So against Fulham earlier in the season when Rafa first took over, they can't score goals. So there's a significant amount of problems there. There really is, and they got a lot of issues.
Lucky Manchester United beat QPR 2-0. I say lucky because Roberto Mancini called them lucky this week, saying all those late goals they're scoring in games they're not allowed. Shut up.
Ridiculous.
Shut up. Lucky? They are a dominating team and they're scoring late goals because they have inner belief and they're a class outfit. And who's scoring those late goals? Players like RVP, players you failed to sign. So move on. They are a vastly superior team to anyone else this season. I mean, 68 points is second best ever.
Right.
I think Chelsea had a point more in 05-06 at this point in the season. As far as wins, I think outside of Spurs in the 60s, no one's got more wins at this point in the season. They're just rolling through teams, and that was a professional performance. It wasn't a great performance. You don't need a great performance every week.
No, you don't. And, the attackers bailed them out a lot this season.
Sure.
Their strikers have won them so many games. This was a game where the defense won.
Or Raphael's goal.
Raphael with the goal. Vidic and Rio were great. Defensively, they were organised. And, you're going to have moments like this in a season where you can't have your best players on top of their game. Rooney, obviously not necessarily very well. Van Persie going off injured. You look at the players out there at some point and you think, hold on a minute. You got Welbeck and Hernandez. You got Nani and Young. This is a team.
It's the second stringers.
It's not necessarily a strong side out there, but because you're playing Queen's Park Rangers, you can kind of get away with it. And you know what? They did what they needed to do. It was a magnificent individual effort from Raphael, who had a really good game. And, ultimately, that's what they do. Games like that, would they have won them 2 or 3 years ago? No, I don't think they would have. But they did, and they had the inner belief, as you said, to do it. And move on. I thought Carrick was really good in midfield again, and ultimately it was just a professional performance, albeit against the Queen's Park Rangers side who
pathetic.
Are having massive problems in how to score goals. They can't even create chances right now.
19 in the season, 4 in the last 10 games. You can't survive that way, and even Harry knows that. Even some of Harry's quotes now are kind of alluding to the fact that he is expecting them to go down next year.
Yeah,
he's saying, I'm not above being a league championship manager.
Right.
Those kind of quotes.
Yeah, strange in the sense that obviously the team has been built to play with one up top with Redknapp so far, but it seems like with the quotes that he's been saying that if they can get Zamora fit to play regularly, they'll play them both together.
Yeah.
He haven't played any minutes together yet.
He's been outright with a hammy.
Yeah, and Zamora's got that ongoing hip injury, and he hurt his
ankle also
as
crap.
well.
So.
Harry loves him, but
he's signed him twice, right?
I know,
at least twice.
But he's not. Not played with Remy yet, so be interesting. I think that maybe at Southampton this week they might go with both and see what they can do there. But they need goals. They need goals badly. We knew they weren't going to get much out of this game heading in. To be fair, Redknapp said 37 points was his target. He said even then it might not be enough. He's basically got to get 20 points from the last 11 games if that's the case. It's possible, no doubt. With home games with Sunderland at home, Wigan at home, Stoke at home, they've got chances there, but they've got to get going quickly. My word.
Gunners beat Villa 2-1. Another late loss for Aston Villa. 12 goals in the last 10 minutes. That's the worst in the league for Aston Villa as far as conceding goals. As for Arsenal, a little stat for you. Even the stats these days, eh?
Yeah.
14 errors leading to goals this season. That's the worst in the league as well.
Right.
So two teams that showed their shortcomings front and centre.
Yeah,
in this game, eh?
No doubt. A remarkably wide open game of football. No doubt. I mean, that's what I took from it. Arsenal, came out really well considering that the rough week that they've had, and their propensity to start games very slowly. They actually
masterman motivator, Arsene Wenger.
Right, yeah, they started really well, and Cazorla smashed one in between two nutmegs to score early, and then really they dominated as well, but they couldn't do anything they couldn't score, they didn't create any chances. Villa, the way Villa set up, they set up with a flat back four with two holders, so to speak, and then the four just going forward and basically just counter-attacked. They just, whenever they could get the ball, they just hoofed it up, and the combination of Weimann, Agbonlahor on the flanks and Zogby in middle with Benteke, they just countered with them, and a lot of the times they caused Arsenal many problems. So it wasn't surprising when they scored the goal that the way that they did by countering from Arsenal's corner, because they'd done that quite often. Arsenal looked very vulnerable when they took their own corners. That being said, Chesney's got to save that. He's got to save it, and it's becoming a massive problem.
He is, yeah.
He's not good enough. He just isn't good enough.
Once again, a goalkeeper has to be, well, I wouldn't say front and centre, but up there on the list of priorities this off-season.
Yeah, he hasn't proven to get better, and I think he's got worse. And
what's Reina? That's a big rumour, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Reina at this point.
It looks like he's getting unhappy with Liverpool as well, so maybe he wants out. But yeah, and Cazorla bailed him out because they give Wenger some credit here. He's not been known to make dramatical changes, but he pulled off Jenkins, so he put Ramsey at right back, he sent Podolski on, and then Cazorla was able to get forward more with Wiltshire. Wiltshire was very versatile, started off as the most attacking member of a midfield three, like a number 10 that he wears, went deeper as the game went on, had a fantastic game with Cazorla getting closer to him, and they pulled it off. But I disagree with Lambert. I think Lambert after the game said they didn't deserve to lose. They did deserve to lose because they didn't play well enough. They didn't control the ball enough. And you mentioned it, James. 5 minutes to go. They couldn't keep the ball. You have to think, why are they not adding on another defender? Why are they not putting on another central midfielder? a little alarming from Villa's point of view that Lambert doesn't seem to be able to see out games defensively. His system.
You know who they need? They need Nigel Reo-Coker still. He's at Whitecaps now, isn't he?
He's at the Whitecaps.
See that?
Did see that.
They need a defensive-minded midfielder is what they need, KJ. And he'd be perfect, wouldn't he?
Well, yeah.
He was there long enough.
Yeah, they spent over £8 million on him. So
yeah.
This week in failed Villa signings by Martin
Speaking
O'Neill.
of MLS comparison with Villa, I mean, who's worse late in games, Villa or TFC?
Well,
it might be TFC.
There's a direct comparison there. Many teams who aren't very good usually aren't very good late in games.
But those two especially, like, it's freakish, the stats, isn't it? Like, you expect someone... Like, you expect United to score late in games.
Yes.
You expect TFC and Villa to concede late in games.
Well, what was your stat? There's
12 goals in the last 10 minutes.
TFC last year in 34 games was 13.
Was it 13?
So,
there you go. Quite the rivalry brewing there. Villa should come back and play TFC again. Too bad John Caruso's not here to be a dick.
Don't rule it out. Yes, no doubt. But yeah, ultimately Arsenal got what they needed, a victory, which sets up a very tasty game against Tottenham on Sunday.
Yummy, absolutely. Norwich scored 2 late goals, beating Everton 2-1. That's their first win in 10 games for Norwich. This Everton team, 12 draws. They're dropping points again now. They are, as mentioned, falling out of the picture for 4th place. Right now they're 6 points out of it. And this is the smallest squad in the league, yet the team that has used the fewest subs as well.
Right.
Is fatigue an issue?
I think talent overall is an issue, and quality, and that's what happens when you have a football club who can't spend money. There's only so much that David Moyes can achieve with the amount of players that he's got there, and this is ultimately what's catching up with them. It doesn't matter that everyone said, okay, now they've started well this season, now they can get in this run. They are ultimately who they are. And they are here at 42 points at the end of February for a club that got 56 last year. I think is a remarkable achievement. But the biggest problem they have is that they cannot, when inserting dominance over games, they cannot show that on the score sheet. Osman scored a nice goal, fantastic run again by Baines, who's had a magnificent season, crossover for Osman's header, and it came at a time when they really dominate the game. Again, at the start of the second half, in complete and utter control, just like they were in the last few games that I've seen them play, and they haven't been able to do anything with them. Swansea at home, Southampton away comes to mind. Can't score. And that's the problem it comes down to. You can't, if you're not being able to put the ball away when you dominate those games, you leave yourself open to ultimately what happened.
You think Moyes is gone this summer? I think this could be the summer.
I think it could be the summer. Yeah. I mean,
they haven't shown him that they're going to spend. They can't spend.
This is
simple as that. What more can he do?
This is all they are. This is who they are.
He can't bring that team any further up the table, I don't think.
They have a real opportunity to win an FA Cup because I think they play Oldham in the replay this week. I fully expect them to win that game.
I bet Chelsea win the FA Cup.
You think? They might be. Yeah. I mean, Chelsea, Man City, and Man United are still in this, but Everton have a shot here. They really do if the draw goes well for them, and we have to remember that for all Moyes' success, and we're coming up on 11 years in March that he'll be there, he hasn't won a trophy. So that's there as well. But yeah, he might well be. I think that I don't expect Moyes to be somebody who would be out of a job. So I don't think he's going to leave Everton unless he's got somewhere to go.
I think you might see a bigger club in England finally,
Chelsea, maybe?
As Chelsea being prime example. Yeah, absolutely. It'd be a smart move.
Yeah.
If Jose's not going to be going back there, who knows, right? There isn't much else out there really as far as attainable guys, because these big sexy names in Germany now don't want to stay in Germany,
right?
And good for them,
for sure.
Right? Why go to an unstable place like Chelsea? But the thing with Moyes going to Chelsea is he's a guy that does demand complete autonomy and also demands stability. And unless Roman's had a complete U-turn in his philosophy, it might not be a fit there.
No, and Moyes is a very shrewd man, and he knows. Look at the record of Abramovich. What is it, 9 gaffers now since 2003?
Precisely. Why put yourself in that position?
Yeah.
Why not Man City? Far more stability than Chelsea.
Yeah, well, ultimately that comes down to whether Man City wants someone like Moyes. But yeah, why not?
They seem to be smarter than Chelsea in that regard. They do have a plan, and they are prepared to stick it out longer. And as much as they're spending to buy championships, they have shown in the last 3 years or so that they're prepared to do it perhaps the right way. Stick with a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Manchester City doing many, many things right. I just think they need a different manager.
Yeah, would Moyes be the right manager?
He may well be. It's difficult.
It'd be a test, wouldn't it?
It would be a test. It's difficult, and I think that there's a lot of chief executives out there who would ask the same question. Just how valuable is your manager to your club, and just how good is David Moyes? We know what a remarkable job he's done with very little talent that he's had at the football club, but
It's a big step up.
Never been proven to be manager in Champions League. Never had a chance to do it. I mean, I know they got knocked out once in the playoffs, but it's a big step up for him.
The same was said about Harry when he went to Spurs. Finally, he's got a team with a bit of money and a team that can compete, and he did a pretty good job there. Right, so it's easy to say, well, what's he done? Hasn't proven himself, but until he gets that opportunity, he won't find out. And every manager needs that chance.
Of course, and I mean, you have to go back to Ferguson. I mean, I know he did in Scotland, but it was a different level. I think, much is made of, is he able to do it in-game management for these massive games? I think it comes down to, are you able to handle big players with big wages, and are you a player's manager? I think that's a lot of it comes down to your relationship with the players at this level.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of some of the massive egos that have gone through Everton over the years. Haven't been that many.
No, there hasn't.
He doesn't generally sign those kind of players. He can't sign those kind of players.
No, he doesn't. And if anyone's like Royston Drenthe on loan last year, if anyone causes trouble, they're out.
Yeah, they're out.
I mean,
right,
yeah, there is only one leader at that club, and that's him. So,
bet Leighton Baines is hoping he gets a big job somewhere.
Yeah,
any big club could do with a left back. Name it. Man City could. Cliche. I don't bank on. Chelsea. Well, okay, maybe not so much.
I think Everett's had a better year this year at United.
Yeah,
but
he's not going there, is he?
No, I don't think so. But yeah, I mean, Baines has been brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I want to mention quickly Sylvain Distin, a guy you like actually quite a lot.
I do.
400th appearance, most ever for an outfield non-English or Northern Irish player. That's Irish player.
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
Amazing. I've been a big fan of Distin for a very long time. I think it's a real crime that he never got a cap for France.
No caps, eh?
I don't believe he's got any.
Really?
No.
Wow.
And he's had a remarkable career in England. And I think I remember saying it the day it happened when Everton shipped Lescott for 24 million to City and went to Portsmouth and bought Distin for 6. I thought they got a better player.
Yeah.
And that's how Everton continue to do what they're doing. He's been brilliant for them, and as evidence when he got sick before the Man United game, which would have been his 400th game, they miss him when he doesn't play.
By the way, the City Harlem Shake we played last week, the guy in the Iron Man costume, Julian Lescott.
It is? Oh, really?
And I thought there's such irony there that Julian Lescott's an Iron Man.
Well, he's got to do something these days.
It's outstanding.
Apart from coming on for a minute at the end of in the 90th minute of every Premier League game.
That's brilliant.
That's very good. There you go.
I love seeing Kai Kamara, by the way, have a good game for Norwich as well.
Great
story.
Not many people out-jump Marouane Fellaini.
Yeah.
And he
out-muscled
him, and he played a key component in the second goal as well. So, yeah, every credit for Norwich. We talked about it last week about the need for them to really get their season back on track, and if they'd have lost that game or even got a point, they would have been possibly sucked back in.
Yeah,
now
exactly.
You look at it, and that's an absolutely enormous 3 points for them.
They're on 32 now, are they?
I think they are. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, so yeah, that's,
you want 40 to be clean and for sure surviving, right?
Yes, they are at 32 as they go to Old Trafford.
Okay, so losing that one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
West Brom beat Sunderland 2-1. Black Cats struggling somewhat of late, and West Brom bouncing back 2 clean sheets in a row. Look at the Lukaku goal, right? Mignolet bottled it, didn't he?
You think?
I think so. You watch that. I mean, in fairness, it's an intimidating sight seeing that boy racing down on you.
To be fair,
but you're a professional goalkeeper. He bottled it.
You may be right. To be fair, I was too busy laughing at Titus Shambles.
And poor guy, I know.
His back
again. He is. There's the old Titus again.
He had a dreadful game, and it really shook him too. After that, he was terrible again. But yeah, you might be right about Mignolet, and I don't criticise him very often.
He's been very good.
I think he's an outstanding goalkeeper, but you might be right there. It was an incredibly fortunate bounce, though. For it to take that trajectory and that angle when it hit him, it just goes off for Lukaku to go in. But Lukaku was magnificent again. He's such a joy to watch for a big man. He covers a lot of ground. He works really hard. He breaks away. He's fearless when he attacks guys with that left foot.
Unlike Mignolet.
So yeah, exactly. So a good game. And when Sunderland got that goal back with Sessegnon, I thought there's a chance here, because I watched this game without knowing what happened. I thought, here we go. They were in it, and the couple of minutes to go, I thought they almost scored again. But yeah, big goal for West Brom to get that 3 points, and they turn the tables. And we have to say, from where they've come, for them to get 40 points before the end of February is a remarkable achievement.
And how they struggled of late and then bounced back with 2 clean sheets. Give Steve Clarke all the credit. This guy is a legitimate Premier League manager.
Oh, yeah.
He's outstanding, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And that's the other thing. Nobody knew anything about him before this season. You know,
Give him a chance.
Is he, is he material to be the man? You know, he's always been the second man, but he's done a great job for them. And
he's like the perennial number 2, right? And
yeah.
Sought after.
Right.
West Ham, Chelsea, Liverpool, right? Sought after. And he's got a nice career there, but give him a chance. Boom. It's worked out really well.
And there are, for me, you know, when you look at teams who are struggling, and I always look towards Villa as a comparison here. West Brom are the perfect example. You know, they don't have a ton of money, but when they spend the money or when they get the player acquisition in, you have to make sure you're making the right decision on that player. And for me, they've done it all the way through. You look at that roster, there's not many players you look at that and go, what's he doing there? They've made a real mistake. All the way through, their scouting's been brilliant. With Jakob and Malumbu in midfield have been outstanding signings. Even Foster in goal, he's been really good for them.
He's a bounce back campaign because
great.
You know, he was supposed once upon a time he was United's future,
right?
Yeah. And it obviously fell off the radar there, but he's bounced back and good for him.
Yes, and obviously Lukaku coming over and getting that loan was huge for
9 goals and 12 starts for him.
Yeah,
9 goals and 12 starts. I think there's actually a deal to get him back in loan next year unless Chelsea want him back full time, which I'm sure they will.
Him playing for West Brom next year. Chelsea would be stupid if they do that. I mean, he needs to be playing for Chelsea.
Yeah,
flat
simple
out.
as that.
And it's a different level. It's going to be interesting for him because everyone's going to think, okay, well, he can do this for Chelsea. You're not going to get the same amount of time to do that.
Got to fill the shoes of Torres somehow. That's going to be hard, isn't it?
The ginger.
Fulham 1, Stoke 0. Berber with a sweet volley, gorgeous goal. Stoke, though, 9 games now without a clean sheet. Prior to that, it was 8 and 13. What's happened to Stoke here exactly?
Well, a couple of things. I mean, at home, they've been the clean sheet record hasn't been very good for them because they played some decent teams. I mean, they got blitzed by Chelsea 4-0. Away, they've not been very good anyway. I think away from home, I think they're significant underachievers. I really do. But, you know, everyone points towards that game against Arsenal where they got, you know, they tried to hold Arsenal off and they did. They don't play very well. They're a team who defensively, their players under Pulis who go there, the defensive-minded players who go there succeed. The attack-minded players who go there don't. And I think there's some concerns about that, how they're going to go and develop. Of course, Walters missed the penalty and we might have been saying, oh, what a good point for them. The overriding thought I had, James, from this game after watching it was, thank goodness, 1, for Berbatov's volley because it was the only moment of quality in the 90 minutes.
Yeah, it was a poor game,
and
wasn't it?
2, you know, if this is the standard, you know, I'm watching this game thinking, okay, here's 2 teams in the best league in the world, as everyone's rammed down our throat, in mid-table who have no chance of going down, okay? This is the standard that you expect these teams to... Mid-table teams. When you think mid-table, now you think Fulham and you think Stoke.
Yeah.
And they offer that putrid nonsense. I mean, absolute awful game of football. And I'm watching it, I'm like, is this what money gets you these days for mid-table mediocrity?
I don't think that's typical of just the Premier League. I think it's typical of most leagues nowadays. Look at from Germany to Spain to Italy, right? Mid-table's shite. It's shite, and the gap between the top 3 or 4 is massive, and it's only growing, right? And in fact, the Premier League might be have more parity than other leagues.
Yeah, I'm not.
Look at Germany right now.
You might be
Bayern
right.
Munich.
With the parity for sure. I'm talking about overall technical quality. Have somebody who can put a touch on the ball, keep it composed a little bit, put passes together. I mean, Ruiz
has been
did his
decent
best,
at times,
but my goodness, it was terrible.
It was sharp. I think you're going to look at a mid-table game in Spain or wherever it's going to be. It's going to be utter crap.
Maybe, although I mean, if you watch like Zaragoza versus Malaga or something, I mean,
Malaga's a bad team, right? But I know what you mean.
The quality, overall movement of the ball.
Technically, it was a better technical league, but is it better entertainment? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
I don't watch too many Zaragoza against. Trying to think of a mid-table Spanish team right now.
Osasuna or somebody.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Wigan. Speaking of mediocrity,
now this is a game I watched and enjoyed.
Wigan once again another late season win, 3-0 over Reading. Kone's been good, hasn't he? 2 more goals, 4 in his last 5.
Clinical.
Yeah, good player. Bozajor even playing good, 6 assists this year.
Oh, what a ball that was from Bozajor for Kone's second goal. Yeah, I talked about this on Thursday, and when we talked about it on 10 and 10 for brief time, I targeted Wigan. I said that this is a game they needed to go out there and prove what they could do. And this is why I still think that they will be fine, because when they play inferior opposition, they have the quality to score goals. I remember earlier in the season when they went to Villa over Christmas period and completely played Villa off the park, dominated 1-3.
No,
they won 3-0. Did it again to Reading, won 3-0. Went to Stoke and had the bravery to play against them and keep the ball down and score 2 goals. They've got goals in the side. Of course, they're going to be open. They're going to leak. And when they play big teams, they're going to have problems. But against inferior teams, they're always going to score. And they were great. They were really, really great. They were miles better than Reading. A Reading team who were a momentum team and coming in, everyone's some sexy pick to build up the table, and they got completely outplayed by a vastly superior technical side. So yeah, good for Wigan, a big game for them and a big 3 points.
Newcastle crushed Southampton 4-2. What a goal by Cisse in that one. He's a scorer of great goals, isn't he? Bloody hell.
Set up nicely for him, didn't it? Just perfect. He was actually offside, but...
Yeah, by a mile.
Yeah.
But he still had to strike it nicely, didn't he?
He did strike it nice, and what a finish, yeah. They've got the mojo back, haven't they, the Magpies?
Absolutely.
They've got the quality out there. They're playing... very relaxed. They don't have to worry about anything going down. They know they're not going down. They got far too much quality. And the Southampton are. I was impressed with them. I look at teams who could possibly go down, and obviously they're part of a team who could go down. But when you've got Lambert scoring goals for them, and you've got players like Schneiderlin playing as well as he is in midfield, they keep the ball down. They seem like the team that could really battle here and stay in this league.
Capital One Cup final at Wembley, one we won't forget in a hurry, that's for sure. What a competitive affair that was. It was just end-to-end action, drama to the last whistle, KJ. 5-0 Swansea over Bradford City.
Yeah.
God!
Poor Bradford. Poor Bradford.
My ass.
Oh, come on.
They were saying before the match that if they won the match, they would actually think about pulling out of the Europa League for financial reasons. Pathetic.
Good for them.
If that's reality.
Stick a finger up to the Europa League.
But isn't that a sad statement?
Well, maybe.
On this game and the fact that the Europa League is what it is.
Well, yeah, that's a whole new topic.
Christ.
But Bradford, what a wonderful journey. That's the way you got to look at it.
Patronising bastard.
No, it's not. It was a wonderful journey, and they didn't get there in the end. But for a League Two team to go through what they did, they didn't get to lift the trophy.
They didn't show up.
Yeah, but they did show up. That's just who they are. That's just who they are, ultimately.
A team that made the final playing of the Capital One Cup.
They are a League Two team, playing on a big pitch like that in a one-leg game with the pressure on. They got shelf stackers on the team.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, you love your shelf stackers.
Come on, James Hansen, the shelf stacker. So
imagine them coming out on that pitch and saying, "What the hell is this?
Yeah,
this is a real pitch."
Right, exactly. What did you
think
of
the tractor marks?
What do you think of the selfish Canadian Dutchman?
Oh, you mean Mr. De Guzman? What about the selfish Nathan Dyer in front of a global audience making a fool of himself demanding that penalty?
Did he make a fool of himself?
Yes.
Come on. You're in a final against shelf stackers.
He scored 2 already.
You want a hat-trick?
So what, he's selfish bastard.
No, he's not.
Absolutely.
De Guzman's the selfish one.
You're going to start pushing and getting all upset and crying in front of a global audience?
Give me that ball. I want a hat-trick.
Have a go.
Final?
I'm with you. Some sympathy there, but you do it afterwards and you get your captain involved as well. It's a joke. There's a great picture. How tiny is Nathan Dyer?
He's not very big.
Because there's a great picture. I forget where I saw it, and it's De Guzman, who, if you met De Guzman, is not a big guy. He's a small guy as well. He's like massive, towering over Nathan Dyer. He's like looking up like, these
He makes
Minshew
look like Crouch.
Yeah, exactly. He does.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah.
It's a really weird picture, but yeah, I know Dyer should have taken the penalty.
He should have,
because there's no designated penalty taker on that team.
Right.
There isn't. It just De Guzman wanted it, and he scored the goal. So in the end, it's the right call.
So why is De Guzman wanting the ball? Like,
he had 2 himself.
Yeah, he eventually got 2 himself.
Yeah.
But why is it? I know he wants the ball because he got fouled. And I won the penalty. But come on, if your teammate's got a chance to score a hat-trick and you're not necessarily the designated penalty taker, give him the ball.
As Canadians, we should be celebrating what we saw. It was a big day for Canadian soccer.
Was it? Really?
Seeing Jonathan De Guzman, a proud Canadian boy, scoring on the biggest stage.
Proud Dutch boy. Junior Hoylett got called a Canadian on the weekend.
I heard that. I often hear that, actually.
Yeah.
It's like,
the commentator. Here comes the Canadian Junior Hoylett.
I think it's going to Jamaica.
Technically, he is a Canadian.
I think he goes to Jamaica in the end. I bet you.
You think?
I'm thinking.
He ain't going to England, is he? Well, he's playing.
No, you ain't going to England. No, you better start making QPRs on them first before you start talking about England caps.
Yeah, he kind of is a Canadian right now. You're a Canadian until you decide you're not playing for Canada. Yeah. That's how it works.
Or you do something wrong.
Right.
And then suddenly, where are your parents from?
Yeah.
Okay, Ben Johnson.
There you go.
Anyway.
There you go. So, yeah, busy weekend.
That's the Footy Show.
That's the Premier League. We'll get to
Spain.
Some Spain and some Italy.
El Clasico
France
twice this week.
On the TV show.
Bex and Barton. Wow. Still in the spotlight from the Capital One Cup, wasn't it?
Yes.
On Sunday.
A little bit of spotlight still.
Well, what an assist. Second assist by Beckham.
The substitute that rocked around the world. Would Beckham have got an assist in hockey?
Yeah.
It would have.
Oh, yeah, for sure he would have
That's
on the Ibra goal.
Yeah.
For sure.
So there you go.
So that's a point he's got.
So he changed the game in the US. Now we have to change the stats rules for Becks.
Yeah.
And then we're fine.
The Beckham rule in France,
There you
which
go.
changes
Second
everything.
assist.
Who would have the most assists for second assists, do you think, in the Premier League? Who's the second assist guy?
For Stoke, it might be the goalie, Begovic, because he boots it up.
Boots it up.
Second
off
assist for
crouch off
Begovic.
to the goal scorer.
Yeah.
I bet Carrick would have some, actually.
He might have some, yeah.
He sprays that ball from the midfield, right?
I have a hard time with this first assist stat, so second assist.
I don't want assists. I don't want assists. One assist is fine. I think it should be used more, personally.
Do you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's really hard to define it. Like,
why? It's the last guy to get the ball to the goal scorer. It's pretty
yeah,
simple.
but sometimes a goal scorer can just make a goal out of nothing, and then you give him the guy assist because he passed it him.
So?
But it's silly.
Someone has to pass the ball to him, right?
But then it becomes a nonsense stat.
And sometimes it's
then
an
you get people
incredible
going, oh, look, he's
defense-winning
got
pass.
so many assists this season. It's like, all right. Anyway,
It's points.
I guess
Americanized soccer, because soccer just isn't working the way it is, obviously. It's dying a death around the world.
clearly on that
82,000 at freaking Wembley, by the way.
Yeah.
You were away. It
was
wasn't sell out, mind you.
No, on that note, I did want to say before we finish, I watched Montreal Impact win the Disney tournament on Saturday night. They beat
It's a Mickey Mouse tournament.
Yeah, very good. Just opened it up for you. It is a Mickey Mouse tournament. They beat Columbus Crew in the final 1-0. And I don't criticize broadcasters very often, but the MLS need to do something about this, because ESPN's broadcasting crew was abysmal.
Were they?
Absolutely abysmal. A lot of people were heavy critical of it on Twitter as well. I wasn't the only one. And then to cap it all off, at halftime, they did a promo for the commissioner's, I guess, whatever he's doing on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. He's like having like a chat or whatever. State of the Union chat.
He has like 8 of those a year, doesn't he?
Dan Garber.
No. They
said-
got the commissioner's name
They
wrong?
said his name as Dan Garber, and then they put a caption in, which I tweet photoed as Dan Garber. It was.
That's just Bush. Come on.
It summarized the broadcast. I'm not kidding. Marco Di Vaio was called Marco Diaby.
Well, he's not a very well-known player.
This is just one. And I don't want to criticize it. It's not an easy job, but get your facts right. If you're broadcasting a game, and if you're trying to broadcast this game and grow this game in the US, I'm just really, really worried about that, because it's not good. It's not good for the sport when you're making mistakes like that.
You can't call him the Dan, right?
Right.
It's the Don.
It's the dog.
The Dan.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So
the Bob joins us now. Here's the Nigel at halftime.
on that note, they also couldn't say Wazika and Schallenbaum, the coaches' last names. So that throughout the whole game, it was Coach Robert and
Their first names?
Coach.
Oh, God, that's pathetic. It is a Mickey Mouse broadcast.
It was a Mickey Mouse broadcast, but
Is Frings being announced yet? He's being bought out?
I don't think so. It's not been
Still
officially
waiting.
announced. It's
It's
happened.
done, isn't it?
Yeah, it's happened. It's
he's
just
gone by.
over. Yeah.
He had a great, probably 8 games combined, didn't he? Let's be honest here.
Yes. It's if
A broken
anybody
man.
wants to sell to me that it was a successful signing, let me know, because
Yeah.
it wasn't. It was a disaster.
Absolutely.
It was never ever going to
Over
work.
2 mil.
Yeah.
Yeah, a broken man.
Yeah.
Wonderful world-class player in his day, and had a couple of really great performances for TFC.
Yes.
But overall, he just sucked away the cap.
He did, and
That team,
Where's the players?
they
got no
better start
players.
signing some players, and I'm sure they will.
They play this Saturday against Vancouver.
Yeah.
Start the season. Not
Boy,
good.
it's not going to be a good start to the season.
Not good.
I fear.
Every
I
year,
fear
it's
it.
the same. Every year,
know,
prepare
I know.
for the season. I know it's not that easy to get players, but
Even if you get guys in now, they're going to have less than a week to train.
yeah, they're not going to get many more guys in now, I don't think. But yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, anyway,
that's the Footy Show
that is
podcast.
the Footy
Check
Show
out the Footy
podcast.
Show TV show later today, 2:30 and 6. As mentioned, a lot of Spain talk, a bit of France, a bit of Aviosay, and we'll be announcing our favourite top
10.
combined Barca Real players not named Messi and Ronaldo.
Yes.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Actually, pretty tough that was.
It was very hard.
Yeah. All right, bye.
Bye.